And he takes a strike, and here's a look at the Wendy's leaderboard.
Players with the most hits since 1995. Benny Castilla third in the list behind Dante Bichette. Everybody, I think, knows about Vinny's power numbers in recent years, but he's also been a solid average guy too.
Right at Boone, he fields and throws one. And that takes care of the Wendy's leaderboard for tonight. Here's Todd Helton, 6-game hitting streak. He's up to 300, 24 homers, 78 RBI. I guess it's tough. If you run the Rockies, it might be tough to make deals. Nothing against any of their players. I don't mean to insult them at all, but the fact of the matter is you have to figure out how good a hitters they're going to be away from this place.
Don't scout them here.
Yeah, that's what you have to do, is scout them on the road. Look out, folks. Everybody's okay, and a fan comes away with a souvenir.
Well, Helton tore up the Expos in that series. 6 games, 11 hits, 5 of them homers, 12 RBIs.
The 1-1 pitch. Fouled it off his foot. Ouch. But he's an old football player, former Tennessee quarterback. He kept that position warmed up for Peyton Manning.
Oh, right off the calf.
He'll have a welt there tomorrow. Well, has a welt there now.
Give you some examples of that, what you're talking about, Skip, with let's go to Helton. He's hitting .369 at home with 17 homers, .235 on the road with 7 homers.
So all of a sudden his value perhaps to another team would be diminished.
And I'm not saying that he's not as good a hitter as people proclaim him to be, but maybe his power numbers aren't as strong as they would be in another place. I think most certainly they wouldn't be. But everybody talks about what a good, solid contact hitter he is. Not there. Boy, Greg.
He doesn't know he's in Coors Field.
What a start.
3 strikeouts, 2 out, and Edgar Clemente, the batter.
This ball move. I don't know if he went out and warmed up early or what he did to find out a few things tonight, but he's already off to a good start, and that's unusual here.
I noticed him doing some running in the outfield, which I don't think he ordinarily does. And that's some pitches. 1 ball, no strikes. And Blanco is next. Clemente hitting .269. He had .304 with 16 homers at Colorado Springs. He hit that ball hard, but foul.
They had Darrell Hamilton in center field, and they made a trade with the Mets and sent Hamilton and Chuck McElroy to New York and brought Brian McRae here, but they didn't keep Brian long. And one of the reasons was Brian was going to be a free agent. They thought, well, if he becomes a free agent, we want to bring him back, we can. But for the next couple of months, we'll get a chance to see the kid play.
Looped into center. Andrew puts it away. Playing much shallower than
over St. Louis in the American League. Oakland is at Boston. They are still hot, trying to win another game. There's a lead in the 9th. Texas has scored a lot here late in the ballgame against Cleveland and leading. Tampa Bay beat Detroit 9-1. Seattle has scored 3 in the 8th at Toronto and added to their lead over the Blue Jays, Minnesota, and New York. Now the Yankees have scored to take a 2-0 lead. Anaheim trailing the White Sox 4-1 in the 6th. That's your Office Depot scoreboard. Log on to cnnsi.com for more information.
Meanwhile, back at the game, the count is 2-0 on Henry Blanco. Excuse me. By the way, Maddux is 12-0 this year when the Braves score 4 or more runs in a game. They have 7 in this one.
He's got to pitch like it's 1-0.
Yes. Lenny Harris waits to hit next. So Bobby Jones' night is over. Don't want to do that. got 3 balls and a strike. Here's a guy 0 for his last 24. He's really been fighting. He's got a bad ankle as well. Right through there. It's 3-2. Nobody on, nobody out. Bottom of the 3rd. It's all Atlanta so far. 7-0. High drive into right field. Back goes Jordan. He looks up. It's gone. Blanco ends the drought with a homer to deep right center. A routine fly ball anywhere else, but not here. And that's not sour grapes. It's that way for both teams.
It's a good way to snap out of that slump. You're right. And when Greg fell behind in the count, had to make a little better pitch than he wanted to, and one about belt high, got belted over the 375 mark.
Lenny Harris hits for Bobby Jones. Harris has been around this game for a long time. Chopper. Boone unloads in a hurry. Good scoop by Brian Hunter. 1 down.
It's a peculiar place to use your best pinch hitter too, I think. I mean, I know that it's a 6-run lead for the Braves at the moment, but Lenny Harris among the tops in pinch hitters in the history of baseball, and batting with nobody on and nobody out. Maybe he's going to stay in the game.
The way things are going, he might stay in the game and pitch. Neifi Perez, the batter. He takes a strike at the knees. 0-1. The division leaders, Arizona, now by 7.5 over the Giants. Cincinnati and Houston tied. 10 of them for Pittsburgh and St. Louis. Perez serves the single to center. He's aboard with 1 out. The Braves and Mets, of course, tied. 8 games now ahead of Philadelphia in the American League. Texas by 4.5 over Oakland. Cleveland by 18 over Chicago. That's a lot. New York by 6.5 over Boston and 8 over Toronto. Baltimore with that huge payroll, 20.5 games out. Ground ball. Boone can't make the play. It's into right field, and runners are on the corner. Looks like he short-armed that ball a little bit, Joe.
He did, Skip. I'm not sure what his plan was. It almost appeared that when he was going to the ground, he was thinking about trying to get the lead runner and getting himself in a position to throw back to second. Watch, he doesn't fully extend here. It's kind of like one of those situations like a hitter where you think, well, I've got this pitch now, where do I want to hit it, instead of just swinging hard. I think Brett tried to do too much with that.
Infield back, hopeful of turning a double play. Larry Walker pops it up. There's a break. Jose Hernandez staggers a little bit but makes the catch. And two men are out. And Dante Bichette, the batter.
That was an odd-looking play, wasn't it?
It was.
Walker obviously upset with himself, but Jose went to a spot, and Andrew Jones' track was to that same spot too, and now Jose has to stop and go quickly back to his right. Almost like the wind got it.
Could be. Bichette, a strikeout victim his first time, but he is a tough out. He's 9 out of 32 in his career against Greg Maddux. Vinny Castilla is on deck. There are 2 out in the inning. A run is in and 2 are on. Strike, fastball, outside corner. I think he's crossed him up a little bit tonight with a number of first pitch fastballs he's thrown.
Bichette is very good at going to right field. He'll wear out the right field line on you if that's the only place you're going to pitch him, so you got to mix it up.
Ground ball, softly hit. Chipper fields, unloads, gets him, and the inning is over. Had a little trouble getting it out of his glove, but he did, and Maddux gets out of what could have been serious trouble. A run on 3 hits and 2 left. We've played 3, and it's 7-1 Atlanta.
I'm really surprised, to be honest with you, how much Greg's pitches are moving. The tailing fastball, the cutter that he runs in on the hands of the righties.
I was talking to Leo Mazzoni about that today. And he said that this is the one place where Maddux cannot afford to ease up on even one pitch. Sometimes he'll get in front 0-2 and waste a pitch while he's trying to set up the next one. And you can't do that here. Every pitch you got to give it everything you got, because if you don't, it's liable to wind up in the seats.
And I add something to that also, and that is that not that Greg gets distracted by any means, because we know how attentive he is to each and every pitch, but I think there are a lot of times where he does experiment, where he says, you know what, I want to see, I might need to throw this pitch to this guy another time. I wonder how he'll react to it.
The 0-2 pitch. Swung line, right field, base hit. 2 of the hits he's given up tonight have come on 0-2 pitches.
Well, time to give you the answer to the Aflac trivia question. We wanted to know if you knew who led the National League in home runs prior to Mark McGwire. Skip and I got 2 of them. One we missed was Dante Bichette. He led the league in homers in 1995 with 40. Andres Galarraga followed the next year with 47. Larry Walker in 1997 with 49.
Who did we guess that didn't make it?
Bagwell.
It wasn't me, it was me. Sorry about that, Joe.
That's okay.
2 out of 3 for us is outstanding. Strike called over the inside corner. Helton struck out his first time.
Interesting note on him tonight that I learned before the ball game about his recent success. He said that he learned something from Tony Gwynn, watching all the stuff on Gwynn during his chase for 3,000, and he read where Tony focuses on the pitcher's bill of his cap before every pitch. And the reason for that is then his eyes are focused on the spot where the pitch will generally come from when the pitcher comes through in his delivery. So your eyes are focused on that area. And he was asked, Helton was asked, well, what'd you look at before? And he said, you know what? I don't know. Just watched for the pitch. And instead of guessing slider or curveball or fastball, now I'm just looking at that bill of the cap and focused on that area.
That's interesting. Be sort of out of luck if the guy sidearms you, but
well, you can focus on his glove.
2-1. Ground ball headed for right field, base hit. Castilla around second, on his way to third, and trouble is brewing again in the 4th. That's what I mean about this ballpark. You never have enough runs. Edgard Clemente, the batter, he flied to center his first time.
Helton got a little help here on a bad hop. Boy, he stepped into that pitch, didn't he? Brian Hunter thought he had a chance to knock the ball down, but then it really shoots to his left, to his right, and in the hole.
So much so I thought at first it might have nicked off the spike of the runner, but I guess not. They're on the corners with nobody out. There's a strike to the young outfielder. 0-1.
The dangerous part about this ballpark, you're talking about no lead is ever safe, is that 2 innocent base hits that normal nights Greg's thinking about, okay, I'll give up a run and get a double play and get out of the inning.
He might do just that. 6, 4, 3.
Okay, so he did it anyway.
Yeah. Nice call, Joe.
But in this ballpark, it can so easily lead to a 3-run homer from anybody in the lineup.
Like Henry Blanco, who hit his 6th earlier in this game. 7-2 the score now. Milwaukee bats in the 9th, trailing Houston 2-0. Who was pitching for Houston, Joe? Did you see?
No, I'll have to check it out.
That thing, it'll say undetermined.
Lima.
Jose Lima's got the shot. Check swing strike. It's 0-1. Braves on top by 5 in the 4th. One the count. 2 out, nobody on.
Gregg's numbers in this ballpark. Yes, he's 2-0, but in 11 innings coming into this start, he'd given up 19 hits and 11 earned runs. But the key for him was that he'd only walked one in those 2 starts.
I think the happiest guy on this trip in is Tom Glavine.
Yeah.
He doesn't pitch again till Atlanta.
And he's pitched 2 of the best games ever pitched here.
Yes, that's true. But he still doesn't like it. Who can blame him? Arizona's jumped on the Cubs again, 2-0 in the first. Two and two to Blanco. Headed for left field, base hit. He snuck it through there. Third hit of the inning. 7th hit of the game for the Rockies. Leskanic will hit for himself with 2 out.
Terry Mulholland pitches here tomorrow night against Jamie Wright, and he's right up on the rail making his notes. May not know a whole lot about Henry Blanco, and he's trying to get a look for what he was doing at the plate to Maddux.
Leskanic hitting .667 on the year. 2 out of 3. One of those hits a home run. Couldn't catch up with that one. And he's in the hole 0-2. Stretch right off the end of the bat. Count stays, no balls, 2 strikes.
Hit his home run against the Mariners this year. Interleague play.
Struck him out. They'll have to throw him out. They do so, and the inning is over. A run on 3 hits. A runner left at the end of 4.
So a runner at first, nobody out for Terry Shumpert, celebrating a 33rd birthday today. He has struck out and singled. But Maddux thinks that the way you can have the most success in this ballpark is forget about breaking balls. Throw fastballs, changeups. You got to throw them for strikes. You got to throw them to location. You got to throw them to certain spots. But change of speeds, he thinks, will get you more outs here than trying to sink a ball or trying to throw a slider and get a ground ball on it.
And I think I agree with most of what he's saying. I do believe that your chances of success are better if you're a guy who pitches with a little downward movement and a little shorter breaking ball, because one of the reasons Greg Maddux has struggled early in this ballpark occasionally has been
ground ball deep short. Hernandez, another tough throw. This one he makes on target. That's a good play by Jose Hernandez. That's a hard throw to make going toward third base.
It's hard to throw it accurately, and it's hard to get anything on it. But this time he gets a lot on it. Watch Brian Hunter shorten it for him. That's a good play on the other end, and another look at it. But I think the guys who get in trouble, Pete, are the guys who throw big breaking balls and rely on big movement, because you're not going to get the air resistance. Maddux can tell you to 1/10 of a centimeter how much his ball is going to move in Houston and Cincinnati.
Boone can't get to it. That'll get a run home. About a 15 hopper into right field. It kangarooed right over the glove of Brett Boone at the last minute. And that enabled Mayfi Perez to score. And it's now 7-3 Atlanta.
Well, when you're hitting about 370 and you get hits like that, you have a right to smile. And Walker could use a couple of smiles against Greg Maddux. He hasn't had a lot of success. A couple of hits tonight for him. He came into this ballgame only 13 out of 60 and striking out about 1 out of every 4 at bats against Greg Maddux.
Hit number 8 allowed by Greg, and now Dante Bichette has struck out and rounded out to third. And it's down in the count here on 1.
To complete the thought on Maddux, Maddux can tell you to 1/10 of a centimeter how much his ball is going to move. in Houston and Cincinnati and Atlanta, but here, because there's less resistance, sometimes he starts out overestimating the movement, and he doesn't get the strikes or he doesn't get the ball on the corner that he likes.
Big jump by Larry Walker in easily. Stolen base number 12. At least a 4-step jump on Maddux that time.
And you're looking at the complete package right there. He can hit for power, he can hit for average, he can play defense, and he can do this. Not only is he a good base runner, a knowledgeable base runner, but he knows how to get a jump, and he has good speed for a big guy who's built like a tight end.
1 ball, 1 strike on Bichette. Deep center field, Andrew Jones, long run, still going, it's gone. 2-run homer to straightaway center by Dante Bichette, and the Rockies are right back in it. It is 7-5. Puts Dante Bichette at 100 RBIs for the year. His 27th homer.
It also makes him 10 out of his last 15 with 4 homers during that stretch. Here's an example of not getting the movement that he counted on. He wanted to cut that ball down and away, but it ended up just being a little spiral. And in this ballpark, those little spirals really travel when they're in.
Now Vinny Castilla. It's all of a sudden just a 2-run lead for Atlanta. Castilla has grounded out to second and single. That'll be out of play. 1 ball, 1 strike now on Vinny Castilla. Well, almost anybody you talk to about pitching in this park, you're going to get one or a combination of keep the ball down, try to get ground balls. Pitch the way you pitch everywhere else and just hope that your team can outscore them. You're going to give up a couple more runs. Do away with a pitch, whether it's that big curve ball or whether it's a splitter or some other pitch that might be your 3rd or 4th pitch, and stick to your top 2 or 3. I've heard pitchers and pitching coaches both say that. Good play by Maddux, throw to first in time. No, but there's no one way. Everybody has their own theory. And Greg, it's more changing speeds than anything else.
Well, I think that what would be interesting to see, and it might answer a lot of the questions, is go back and see if there has been one style of pitcher that has had the most success here. And this park has been in existence long enough you can get a pretty good track record.
I think the guy you could track it on in this club right now is the guy we've just been seeing out there on the mound for Colorado, Curtis Leskanik. He's been there through it all. And his style of pitching has been